Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. Friends, today we have 4 stories out of the Entitled People subreddit. So sit back, relax, and get ready to get annoyed with some entitled people. Let's begin. Our first story is posted by CWU007. Karen, he's taken and not into you. Names have been changed to protect people. Let me set the stage. Me is Ellie, my boyfriend is Tom, Tom's friend is John, John's fiance is Jane, and Jane's sister is Karen. Tom and John had been friends for years and hung out quite often. John lost his first wife and infant in a car accident years prior. John found love again in Jane and would bring her along. Tom also started bringing me along. Lately, Karen had started to tag along. Karen had 2 kids from 2 previous marriages and could not afford a babysitter, so they also got brought along. This prevented us from doing adult activities or talking about adult things. Karen had chronic witch face around me, and then she seemed to make every excuse in the world to be around Tom. Once Jane's car needed new spark plugs, Tom's a pretty good mechanic, and so he offered to change them for her. Right behind Jane was Karen. Karen would also make every excuse to get between Tom and me, and get me away from her kids. She would also start giving me dirty looks that said, "Stay away from him," and "You're the only reason why I can't have him." After John and Jane got married, John and Jane wanted to take Tom and I out to dinner on a double date. We made sure it was just the 4 of us. Well, 10 minutes before dinner, we got word that Karen was bringing her kids to join us at the dinner table. I was playing math games with Karen's son, and Tom was doing the same with her daughter. Out of the blue, Karen started yelling in my face, "No math games at the table," but left Tom alone. I later asked him if he knew that Karen was hitting on him. He said yes. Tom reassured me that he had 0 interest in Karen, and that even if I wasn't his girlfriend, would still have 0 interest in her. She's not his type. He wouldn't even consider her a friend. The only reason he treated her as a friend was because she's John's sister-in-law. If Karen was a teen or someone in her early 20s, he would just brush off the immaturity, but Karen's a woman in her mid-30s. Over the course of a year, things progressively got worse. Now, aside from tagging along with John and Jane to see Tom, Karen was coming over to Tom's place alone. Tom kept brushing her off, telling her he was busy. Karen never seemed to get the hint. We would even blatantly mention the book and movie He's Just Not Into You during conversations. At one point, I was even afraid that she would try and hurt or kill me just to get to Tom. Finally, one day, Karen showed up and Tom's mother was there. Having known what was going on, Tom's mom confronted Karen. The mom said that Tom and Ellie were together and that Tom had no interest in her. If she showed up unannounced one more time, she will help Tom and I file a restraining order against her. She also mentioned that she was a black belt in karate, which she is. Tom also called Jane to let her know that the next time Karen showed up uninvited to get together, he and I would be the ones canceling. Although Karen stopped showing up unannounced, she became super friendly with Tom at parties and get-togethers, especially when I wasn't there. John had a birthday party at Karen's house. I could not attend due to work. Tom told me that virtually the whole time Karen followed him around and offered him a seat, even in the middle of the hall. For those of you wondering why Tom just didn't tell Karen to knock it off, Tom's not confrontational. Tom is a very large guy at 6'5", 300 pounds, but he's a gentle giant and quite soft. He doesn't like people thinking that he's big and tough, so he doesn't show it. Quite often, he did mention to Karen that he had a girlfriend and was happy with her. Like me, he assumed that a twice-divorced, 30-something-year-old woman would know better. He also talked to John and Jane about Karen. Jane said that she would handle her sister, but we're assuming she never did, and here's why. The twist in the story? John and Jane divorced after 18 months of marriage. When John and Jane first met, Jane had a lot of credit card debt. She had a sob story about how she was helping her mother. After they got married, John helped pay off all of the debt. After the debt was paid off, Jane started maxing out their credit cards and transferred a majority of the money in their joint bank account into her personal. Then she walked out and filed for divorce, leaving John with all the debt. No Jane meant no more Karen. We finally found out that Jane had never changed her last name to John's last name, even though she claimed she had. Looking back, Karen was probably going to do the same thing to Tom. Fortunately, Tom wasn't interested, and Tom and I have since gotten married and started a family. Our next story is posted by Lurid Fox.
I want to keep my checks.
This happened a couple of times over the years, and after I had scanned her 1,000 items and hit total, then she decided to start digging through her purse to find her checkbook, and after a few minutes found it and then started slowly filling it out. Of course, a line has built, and people looked at her like life was slowly draining out of them. I felt it too. I ran the check through the register, it scanned it, and then I put it at the bottom of the cash drawer. I hand her her receipt, and then she held her hand back out. I'm not entirely sure why, because I wanted her to go and not give me a high five. She just ahemed at me and said, "Where's my check?" I look at her confused. "In the drawer where I just put it after the transaction." "I want my check back," she yelled. "Ma'am, we have to keep the check and then deposit it in the bank in case there's any transaction errors." She was shaking her head no the entire time. "No, I have to get it back, otherwise somebody could steal my identity." I tried to assure her that from the register it gets put into a safe at night, and then the next morning an armed guard will take it to the bank for deposit. She would not accept it and said that if she did not get it back, she wanted to return her purchase and get it back and buy things elsewhere. This must have been a power play for her, but she messed up. You see, it was my last week there at that job, and I was ready to stop caring altogether. I asked her for her receipt, which I got, and I pulled her transaction and hit void previous transaction. I grabbed her check and her receipt and voided the receipt and said, "There, now you have your voided transaction and returned check. Good luck at the next store." I then started removing her items from her bags and making stacks next to me on the floor. She looked dumbfounded. Her jaw dropped. "No, I purchased those. Those are mine." I, kindly with the most customer service voice I could muster, replied, "You told me that if you could not get your check back, that you would buy your things elsewhere. And I had already told you that you were not able to get your check back. So I voided your purchase and now you have your check back." I looked at the next person in line. I can help the next person. That beautiful customer stepped forward right next to the lady, pre-COVID, and started a conversation about some cereal she bought. By the time the manager came over, the lady was yelling at him. Okay. He ended up ringing her items back up in the aisle next to mine. She paid by check again and was unable to keep the check. I could hear it all very well. In fact, half the aisle was watching their show of the interaction. The best part was when she was demanding her check back again, he asked if she wanted him to void the transaction so that she could go elsewhere. She nearly exploded, ripping the receipt out of his hand and threw her bags in her cart, breaking some things by the sound of it, stormed out yelling. The cherry on top was her on her way out. She turned to yell some more at us and ran straight into the door frame with her cart. As she was looking back, she was not paying attention. Laughter erupted from a few kids nearby. If you're enjoying the content so far, please put a heart emoji in the comments section down below. Our next story is posted by mprig0124. Elderly Karen kicks my ankle because I'm faking an injury. On mobile and first time posting, sorry for any possible errors. So a bit of backstory first. I, 25 female, have 5 different things wrong with my left foot/ankle. 3 forms of tendinitis, 2 joints with osteoarthritis in my foot. I also had surgery on my ankle 2.5 years ago. I deal with a lot of pain and have a very noticeable limp. I'm in pain almost every single day of my life, and currently there isn't much I can do to alleviate the pain. If anyone were to look at my ankles side by side, would notice it's quite a bit larger on a really bad day because it swells up to twice the size. Here's the cast. Me is me, Karen is elderly lady, NE is nice employee. On to the story. This literally happened last night after work. I work a 10-hour shift, can range from being on my feet the whole time to anywhere from possibly sitting for most of the day. Yesterday was very busy and I was on my feet the whole day. By the time I got off, I was in a lot of pain, probably a 9 on a pain scale. I needed to pick up some veggies to go with dinner last night. I was doing my shopping and I was getting through the store pretty slowly as not to cause any shooting pain in my ankle/foot. All of a sudden, this elderly Karen stops and goes, "I hate your generation. All you guys do is fake injuries, so you don't even have to work. Your limo isn't real. Get over yourself." Me. Okay, and tries to walk away. I'm so exhausted, I really didn't care what she thought. I just wanted to get my stuff and leave and go ice my ankle at home. Karen walks up behind me and pretends to stumble, full on kicks my left ankle. Oops, sorry. Me yelps in pain and is now fully angry, crying out in pain. Turns around. Okay, witch, look at my ankle. Do you notice a size difference? I'm actually in a lot of freaking pain right now. I just got off a 10-hour shift with being on my feet the whole dang day, and I have multiple injuries to my leg. Karen, surprised Pikachu face. Well, how was I supposed to know that? Me, you aren't, because we don't know each other, but you decided to make my problems your business by saying I'm faking it and kicking me. Nice employee. Walks over after hearing me yelp and the commotion. What seems to be the issue here? Me, I was accused of faking an injury because my generation sucks, and then this old bag kicked my leg. Karen, she's faking it. I can tell that she can walk just fine. I didn't mean to kick her. I stumbled and it just happened. Nice employee turns to me. Would you like me to call the police and file a report? Karen goes pale, white, and starts to stutter. Me, no, I just want this lady to leave me alone so I can finish my shopping and go home. Karen tries to continue pleading her case, but instead got kicked out of the store and I got a discount on my groceries. There's no big interesting ending. I didn't file a report because of the time it would take, and I was in so much pain. I just wanted to lie down. Our final story is posted by This Be Chris. Get out of the parking spot, your friend isn't getting it. Obligatory on mobile, forgive me for formatting and spelling and yada yada yada. So this happened a few years ago in a certain large mall in the US in a parking garage. I had gone to the mall on my own to get a few things. I didn't realize it was Chinese New Year, and the mall was holding a large celebration for it. The parking garage was packed. I drove around for 15 to 20 minutes trying to find a spot, when I got stopped behind a car with its turn signal on trying to move into an open spot. What was weird was the long line of cars across from it, all of them honking. I looked to the other side of the windshield and there she was. A Karen in all her asymmetrical bob hair glory, standing in the open spot waving the car with its turn signal on away. The passenger in the car in front of me was yelling at Karen, so I rolled down my window to hear what was going on. The passenger was yelling at the woman, telling her to get out of the freaking parking spot. Karen yelled back, "I'm holding the spot for my friend. She's a couple of cars back in line," and gestures to the line, now building up behind me with a simpering smile. I was already annoyed, but this was just the icing on the cake. I threw my car in park and opened my door and stood up to yell over the top of the car, "Lady, your friend is behind me and God knows how many other cars. You are holding up the entire garage with your crap and ruining everybody's day. So freaking move, because your friend is not getting that spot." Karen looked at me like she had only just realized other people besides her, the car, and the car trying to turn in. Scoffed and realized I wasn't going anywhere anytime soon, stomped away to, I'm guessing, be a jerk somewhere else? That's all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit post will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my videos, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.